What is up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Client Spotlight series. I have one of my amazing clients, Kari, here. Kari here. We were literally just talking about how do I say your name.
You said it. You did it.
I call her the Latina way, which is Kari, but we're gonna do it the English way this time. Kari here. And she's going to share with you how she was able to elevate her copywriting skills inside of the Magnetize and Monetize Mastermind, and how she found a new confidence in herself and the niche that she was really wanting to lean on, and how she was able to start attracting premium clients. And so, Kari, please introduce
No, you're
yourself.
saying it right. It's just a little, yeah. I like the way your Carrie sounds.
So please introduce yourself to everyone here so they know who you are, what you do, and then we're going to get started with sharing your story.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Carrie Azuma. I am a coach who really loves to focus on feminine leadership. And the way that I do that is I support women really not letting their nervous system run the show. I help women scale and lead easily by having an engaged understanding of how their nervous system plays a part in their success. And I absolutely love this. I've been in the industry for 12 years and I feel like everything has led me to this work. So that's what I do. It's who I am.
So good. Okay, so you were an experienced coach. You had been coaching in other people's programs. You know what you're doing. You have the skills to help clients. You feel confident in that. And so tell us a little bit about what inspired you to join the Magnetize and Monetize Mastermind in the first place.
Yeah, this is kind of multifaceted, so I'm going to try to keep it succinct. But mostly it was I had been a support coach a lot in my career, and also always having my own coaching practice. But I was really kind of out on my own a lot more than I'd ever been. And I was sending out messages and writing and feeling like I had so much to share. I was so passionate about it, but I just felt like I was sort of like missing the mark on how to really get connected to my reader, to really get connected to the people who were following me, and to help them really understand what the offer was. I felt like it was muddled, like my messaging was a little bit off, even though I knew in my heart exactly what I did. There was just this part of me that was like, how do I really translate this in a good way? And then one of my good friends was in your course, and she had put up a little story that said she joined your longer mastermind. And I said, "Who is this?" And I started watching you and I started watching your content. And I love the way you spoke to people. I love the way that you taught. I love the way you relayed information, and you were very service oriented. Like I could have gotten just so much just from your content. And I was like, oh, I really like the way that she's not evasive. She's not like withholding things from people. She's really out there serving, excited, so passionate. She's Latin, which I'm biased because I'm also Latin. But yeah, I knew you had a really cool story, and so I just got more and more intrigued. And I had probably like 3 conversations with my friend and she's really the one who actually was like, who got me in, because she had so much amazing things to say about her own experience. So I was like, okay, I think this is a time to really nurture this part of my business. I just want a way to connect to people more. I was already making a good amount of money. I was already like an established coach. It was just like I want more impact. So that's really what like crossed me over the bridge to come in.
So beautiful. And so, how was it for you to make that decision to join? Because you and I didn't even talk. And I think a lot of people who are new to my world, they are accustomed to talking to the coach before they join. And my philosophy is I attract clients who are so deeply rooted in their decision making process that they trust themselves to be a yes to something that they know is their next step. So, tell us a little bit about what that was like for you.
Yeah, great question. I mean, I am such a fan of referral based business. Like a lot of my clients come in just from seeing or meeting my other clients. And I think that's because when people are so like enlivened by what they've learned, the work really speaks for itself. And
Yeah.
so honestly, like just those conversations with my friend about what she had experienced were enough for me, because I could see with the combination of like how genuine and transparent her excitement was,
Yeah.
without any selling or any pressure, right? And then just sort of like connecting that to how you were giving and being of service, and where like it didn't feel gimmicky. I just felt trust. Like it just really built trust. And I always tell you this, like you're such a nervous system friendly coach because you don't put a lot of pressure on, you don't you give a lot of sovereignty to people to be in their decision,
Yeah.
while like holding them, in possibility. So there was a moment, I will admit, there was a moment where I was like, I wish I could sort of talk to her. But then, the more I realized that, like, if somebody else is really raving about this that I trust, I don't need to talk to her. Like I'm already in. So the fact that you did such a great job taking care of someone I trusted made me trust you, and that was it.
Beautiful. So good. Oh, so good. I love it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what the meat and potatoes of what you did to create these amazing results. And so let's talk about the mindset aspect of things, because in Magnetize and Monetize Mastermind, for those of you who don't know, we really address the mental aspect of things, the emotional aspect of things, the practical and the strategic aspect of things, on top of the energetics. Like, we really cover all the grounds that you need to really create these quantum leaps that people experience that you won't see in any other mastermind. And so tell us a little bit about, from a mindset perspective, was there any coaching that you received that really helped you in moments where you felt stuck in like elevating your price, or really believing that people were out there ready to buy from you?
Yeah, that's kind of twofold for me because I think you probably remember on a few coaching calls, I'm like, I know that I've enrolled clients at 25K, but I'm so not convinced that they're all waiting for me. Like, I believe it's a fluke. I was kind
Yeah.
of like, I've gotten these people because I built trust somewhere else. And you were really a stand for like, no, they're lurking, they're waiting, they're watching. And I think, excuse me, just the evidence of you producing a business based on that, and just like continuing to like encourage that in me, it was very helpful. And particularly a conversation we had, around, because I've already charged kind of premium prices, but there was a point at which I was starting to feel a little guilt and just feel like, oh my God, I need to have an offer for someone else. And I was about to launch like a mini course or a beta course so that I could like make sure my work was out there for everyone and that I wasn't just catering to the premium client. And you were really a stand for like, hey, think about this. You're going to have to do marketing and you're going to have to do a whole other campaign to get that out there while you're working on this other huge campaign for this program you really want to release. And that's going to double your work. And what we came to in our conversation was like, by doing the premium clients and kind of getting that low hanging fruit that you already know you can get, that you're actually resourcing yourself so deeply, because I'm also a working mother. And 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 I think there was just a place where we did a little coaching and you were like, does that resonate? I was like, not really. And then you looked at me, you're like, look, we need what you have. It's amazing. Like, this is such important work and you need to have the energy to deliver it. And the reason you're feeling, guilt, it's like, that's not really even yours. That's like an old contract, and so once we kind of got through that, I was like, you know what? Like, yes, the resourcing. It's so, and just like the way that it wasn't even coaching. It was like you just looking at me and being like, yeah, we need you, Kari. Like, this is important what you're doing for women. And so that just like, it was like your heart to my heart. And I really heard it. It just very much landed. And I was like, oh, okay. And that sort of released me. I didn't even have to do the contract breaking. It was just like a very direct message, from someone who I really trust. And so I think that that trust being there and just, feeling like there's a path to success and it doesn't have to look one way and it doesn't have to mean you have to be a martyr for it, and that you can attract premium clients and it's okay to start there and to resource yourself. And then the next week I enrolled my next 25K client and it was literally the easiest enrollment I've ever had. And she's a dream client. So I think there was some energetic something that was broken there that like now I'm like starting to raise my prices because I'm like, actually, this is like,
Yeah.
this is very, and I've gotten more high touch
Yeah.
with my clients since working with you, just seeing how premium I felt in your program. And like, I was like, wow, I really need to raise my game because I feel really taken care of here.
Hmm.
And I want my clients to feel the same way. And so, yeah, there was like a whole symbiotic like shift in my one-on-one coaching relationship.
Oh my God, I love that so much. That's like part of the byproduct that people get when they join Magnetize that they don't even expect. Like how that it just, you elevate as a coach. And the quality of coaching that you want to offer your clients, because you have been in a premium container, just elevates. And so like raising your prices just makes sense. It no longer feels like, shouldn't I? Oh my God. Like it's just like the natural flow and evolution of who you are. So,
Yeah, that resourcing conversation, it even like had me raise my prices for my program next year. I was like, okay, this thing gets to be higher because I actually, these are the places that my main places I'm resourcing myself. And then I'm excited about what else I get to put out. And as far as the results, like the results I received in this program were so different than what I thought I was coming in for. It was, and it was so much more soul results than
yeah,
just the financial, or, you know?
yeah,
So we could talk about that too, but that
yeah.
was my experience.
Tell me a little bit about, for those people who care about that, friendliness with the somatic, like so body friendly. That you tell me that my coaching is so like somatic friendly. That is such a big conversation now in the coaching space, and especially because I come from a very like tactical, practical, spiritual, all the things. And sometimes it's hard for people to find a coach that can meet them in all those areas and can allow them to be sovereign, because the coach is just not interested in being the hero of their journeys, right? Like, I want you guys to build your business your way. So tell me a little bit about, as a coach who literally focuses on that, what was that like to receive business coaching from someone like me?
Yeah, I think that was sort of what was a little revolutionary for a lot of the people in the course,
Yeah.
in my observation, was just to have a marketing coach who wasn't pushy, just to be like, hey, because like I said, I'm a working mom. I'm super busy. I have like these crazy windows in which I have to complete my work and be very efficient in my life, and also deliver at the level I deliver. So, the modules were like, it was kind of like you were like, you know what, the modules are here. You get them for 3 months after the program. Like, just write, experience writing, and that was game changing for me to just have someone not be like calling me forward of like, you're not doing the work, or it was the opposite. It was sort of like, okay, listen, be in your timeline.
Yeah.
Here's the pathway through that might be the best right now. And so there was a point where I just took the pressure off of myself, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm just parking the modules and I'm just going to write. And I could have chosen either. And I've seen in the program people have done the opposite. Like, they've done like, I'm going to do all the modules, and then and the coaching feels important and I'll show up for the calls, but like the modules is where their focus was. And either way, you got so much of value.
Yeah.
I got so much more value in parking the modules, and now I'm doing them. Like,
Yeah.
since the program ended, I'm working on that, and it's I can integrate it because I already know. I showed up for all the coaching calls, so
Exactly.
I know what's behind it. So I think just that in itself is so revolutionary, to not have. There wasn't like a competitive nature in your program.
Right.
There was just a lot of like that patriarchal like push, like, here, like, let's celebrate like who made this much money. There wasn't like, it was just, let's just celebrate our wins, whether it has to do with success or not,
Right.
like, and I think just the softness of getting to be exactly where we're at. I mean, it's
Yeah.
so simple. But in nervous system work, I always say that it's always the little things that make the hugest difference. It's not like some crazy, miraculous, whatever. But I
Exactly.
think it is revolutionary for marketing to lay off of those pressure systems inside of us, because then we just get wrapped up and contorted in that. And that doesn't let us create. We're just an
Exactly.
ego all the time, like, I have to catch up. But
Yeah.
I really didn't feel that energy at all. I felt very relaxed. The only pressure I felt was the pressure I put on myself, to be honest. So yeah, I really liked that aspect of it.
Beautiful. Okay, and tell us a little bit about how did that help your copywriting skills? Because that's one of the biggest takeaways that you got from the program. So, what is it like to be you now? You came like not really sure how to speak to your person, not really sure like what to say, feeling like, okay, I have to say the right thing. I don't even know, is this the right niche? No, like kind of like a little bit in that area. And so, what does it feel like right now to sit at your computer or to be in bed and have ideas and just to allow yourself to flow? Like, what happened for you to be able to be that way? And what does it feel like now?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I told my husband, I was like, honestly, the most revolutionary, like the most impactful part of this program was the first module and the first call. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I got so much out of those two things right off the bat. And I was driving in my car after that call, and I was like, the next day, and I was like, or actually, no, it was after I started the first module. And I realized, like, oh my God, I'm focusing nervous system, nervous system, nervous system. But what I really care about is leadership. And I've been so afraid to
Mm.
talk about leadership because I feel like it has this connotation for women.
Hmm.
And you were like, no, you just get to say what leadership is to you.
Yeah.
And so like since then I've like started this whole leadership series on my page, like Leadership Redefined, and I'm setting up that entire message like based on what how I see it and what and I didn't even know I could do that. Like I knew, but I never thought to do that. I never thought to take the time to establish and define like this is who I am and how I see the world.
Yeah.
And if someone reads that and they're like, wow, that's how I see the world, they're gonna be like, who is this person? Right. And but it's not coming from a place of selling.
Right.
And so it's coming from this amazing place of being so connected to my writing and so connected to what's true about what I want to write about.
Oh.
That like during the program, the big shift that I had was my writing used to revolve around my business. And then afterward, it was my business revolved around my writing. And I
Mm.
loved writing. Like it was so much fun. And sure, there were parts where I got caught up in perfectionism and I had to kind of clean that up for myself.
Yeah.
But just the basis of like putting the client first and saying like if you really had to paint this picture, like imagine their life, imagine like this compassion driven like methodology behind the writing really spoke to my heart. And it wasn't like here's what you should say, here's scarcity, no thanks, I hate scarcity in writing, I think it's
Right.
horrible for the nervous system.
Yeah.
It's like here's the information, like yes, like here's what I have available, here's but like really giving them the ability to just hear what I'm speaking to. And of course that's going to draw on the clients that I really love anyway.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, since the end of our program, I've just noticed these little places where women are speaking to me and like hearing me, and I'm even conversing and deepening more with them based on what you said in our last call. It was like,
Yeah.
I loved that too. And you said, don't before you go wide, go deep. Like,
Yeah.
don't try to get more followers. Don't try to get all of this, which also really nice on the nervous system. Go deep with them and connect with them, and that's what I love doing. So yeah, it was I have had coaches tell me that before, but it didn't land the same way. It was like, I don't know, there was a place in which I really trusted it here, where because I feel like we need the models of who has built their business on the messaging, not on the funnels, not on the.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think there was something just really clear and authentic that started coming through. And now I'm just so clear on what my message is. And I'm so clear on the different, like the dynamic parts of that and how to speak to each part of that message. And so I also don't feel like I have to focus on one thing and one niche. Like it's like, here's my niche, but here's all the dynamic pieces of how I
Right.
speak to it. So it's really magical.
Oh,
I love it.
so good. It feels like free flowing is like you know the core and then you know how to build a really delicious message around it, and it doesn't have to be constricted to one thing. It's like authentic to you, it's real, and then you can free flow in so many different ways, but being clear. Like you know how to be clear about what you're selling right now. So that's like
Exactly.
so huge. So huge.
Yeah, I heard this quote the other day. It was like you can't have ego and creativity in the
Mm,
same breath.
mm,
And I think sometimes it's like with marketing, our ego gets so involved in the result and the end game that we really forget like what we're speaking about. And that's really like the mission. And
right.
so that's what I feel like was a little different about this. It was like there's not a lot of ego in here. There's healthy ego. You gotta have some courage, some confidence, but there's not constriction.
Yeah.
And that constriction like really enables my body to relax and just like, okay, here's how I put this out here. Just give me so much clarity.
So good. Okay. So, final two questions. What is it like to be a part? I think you've answered this already throughout the whole interview, but what is something that you didn't expect about the Magnetize and Monetize Mastermind when you first joined? What is something that like blew your mind that was like, oh my God, I didn't even expect that we would go here, that we would do this, that I would get this like goodies? Like what was that for you?
I think it was less about the how and more about the energetics behind what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about like, how are you holding your client? How are you imagining their life? How are you coming into writing? Like, are you coming into writing with an agenda? Throw it out. Like
Yeah.
that's, like that's going to be felt. And that surprised me in a humbling way. Like, oh God, I definitely have been coming in with an energetic of like, you need to know this information. This is the way, and I'm like, that is not sovereignty. That's just like pushing
Mm,
my way. And so I became this like professional speaker. Like, I'm going to
mm,
talk about how I do what I do and what you should know. And I think that was what I was feeling like, kind of, this isn't working.
yeah,
And so it really, that was a surprise to me, is like how I kind of released this like professional speaker of like, here's what I know, and here's why you should know it, and here's how it's going to help you. And this is, and kind of like pushing that knowledge onto people,
yeah,
and really shifting behind the scenes, like, okay, what is the energy that I'm showing up with here?
yeah,
And like when I write a post now, I'm like, do I want to call to action at the end of this, or does this just want to be by itself?
yeah,
And
exactly.
really asking those questions.
Yeah,
And so that was surprising. It's like it was less how to, like, here, give me the answer, which I also love, because like I feel like the fixed mentality and the answer mentality really gets in the way with like ego. And it was more about like, how am I showing up to this, so there's a translation between my soul and their reading. And that was really surprising for me, is like how much that matters, how
yeah,
much I wasn't paying attention to that,
yeah.
and how much it's changed the way I write and the way people hear me.
Yeah, and it's what I was coaching you guys on a few calls ago, when I said, this is not really about you and your knowledge and how much experience you have. We know that's important. And when we write, when we communicate, the most important thing that we can do is actually focus on the world of the client and putting our
Mm,
own things, our own prescriptions aside, because that's not where they're at. And so it's meeting the
right.
client where they're at. And that requires some adjustments, and especially in your ego, if you want to take it super deep, because we want people to see us as experts. We want people to see us as the go to. And we think that the way to do that is by making ourselves look good and look big and look special and look like, oh, she knows special words that I should know. Oh, she knows my problem, like in this and this way. But that goes over
Right.
people's heads. And that's why the message doesn't land. And so that's the big lesson of making it about the client instead of making it about us. So important.
Definitely.
So good.
Yep. I definitely took that away.
All right, my love. So, anything else that you want to say to anyone who will be watching this specific video? Because there's like hundreds at this point on the sales page, and they will stumble upon yours. And for
Hmm.
whatever reason, serendipity brought them here. So, is there anything that you would like to tell them if they're considering joining the Magnetize and Monetize Mastermind?
Yeah, I mean, I would say if you're somebody who's really committed to really being like in your own authority, and
Mm,
really coming home to your own authority of like, not just the authority of who you can be out there, but like really owning the way you want to do things, the way you want your voice to be heard, then this is a beautiful place to come, because I feel like there's a lot of places where I've learned marketing or tactics and things, and it was like, here's the formula, apply it, and it doesn't follow suit. Like, you can't, in my opinion, you can't apply someone else's formula of success in the exact same way to get the same result, because you're you.
mhm,
And so I think if you're somebody who's really searching for that more, oh, how can I say this? Just like authentic, and more aligned. Aligned is, it doesn't really do it justice, but if you're really looking for you to have your expression really be unique to who you are and be nurtured, I like, this is a place that I would know to recommend, because that's what I came here for, and I feel like I got that. I feel like I
mhm,
got that, and I got to expand that, and I wouldn't be afraid. Um, of just having messaging, because I think messaging has, like, to me, is like one of, is probably to me the top now, the
yeah,
top way to really speak to what you're delivering.
yeah,
And yeah, I've experienced that. I really experienced the joy of it too. So it's rigorous. It's not like there's not methodologies. It's not like there's not things that Juliana is gonna workshop with you, and that there's not ways that you can kind of pull things out and support the reader seeing better of like what's there for them. So you're definitely going to get a lot of that kind of value. But me being who I am, I'm always looking for how can I be sovereign, unique, and come home to my truth the most. And so this was literally the reason I signed up. It was the only program out there that I found that really matched that. So
So
that's,
happy. Yeah.
yeah.
Love
Yeah,
it. All right, my love. So where can people find you if they want to work with you? Tell them.
I'm on Instagram at Kari Azuma, KariAzuma. I'm working on my website right now. It's total long work in progress, but my Linktree has all of my offers on there, Facebook as well. And I love giving away content. I love writing. I love giving all the service, as I've learned here, to provide. So if you want to find me, that's mostly where you can get all of my stuff in one place.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for
My
being
pleasure.
here and just being such an amazing client to work with. You're just such a dream. And
Oh, thank you.
honestly, all of the wins, I give you credit because you really took it on, right? Like you really took it on to implement. And so,
Mm.
thank you so much for showing up in such a beautiful way. And thank you everyone who's watching. Go ahead and apply for the Magnetize and Monetize Mastermind today. We have bonuses depending on when you apply, bonuses that I have never offered before. So make sure that if you're watching this today, you get 2 extra months of coaching that can start literally in like a month until we begin the fall cohort. If you're not watching this during this time, then there still will be bonuses. So make sure that you go ahead and check the page or send me a message if you are wondering what the bonuses are, and you will be delighted because one of them counts as a 30-minute call with me, where in 30 minutes I literally fix your entire business. I did this with a friend yesterday, and she's like, you literally answer all my questions about my niche and my message in 30 minutes. How is this possible? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I do. It's easy. So in 30 minutes, we can literally change the trajectory of your business. So go ahead and apply. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next interview. Bye.